Hi, this is Matt J. Horn, and I'm on the line with, wow, oh, what can I say about this man? It's Joris Jarsky. Hopefully I've got it right. And he's a Hollywood actor. Have I got it right? Close.
It's Jarsky.
Ah.
I know, it's confusing. My parents, two J's, two different pronunciations. You can blame them.
People really know you as sort of the Pendulum Man, shall we say, from Saw.
Yes, they do.
Yes. Okay, for anyone who hasn't seen Saw 5, how would you sum up your part in the film? It's actually the first 5 minutes, isn't it, really?
Yes. Seth is the guy that raped... See, this is the best part, is I'm so unfamiliar with Saw lore, and I feel like such a fraud. But if I remember correctly, I shot, this is over a year... I guess, no, it's about... They would have released... I would have shot it, it's a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. This time last year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they're probably already starting to shoot the end of the next one. So Seth is the guy that raped whose sister?
Well, actually, no. You murdered his sister.
Rape and murder, I think. Yes.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Yeah. So I'm in this, and I'm, as far as I know, I'm his first kill, which is why the trap doesn't work. Right? Isn't that kind of the thing? Do we know that? Do you guys know that?
Well, I know the context of the film, but that's not what happens. The first question I should probably ask is, did you know about the Saw franchise before you went into the part?
I did, but I'd only seen Saw, the first one.
That's probably the reason why you probably don't understand what was going on.
Well, I did at the time. But I have the worst memory, and now have forgotten it all.
Well, basically, Hoffman was sort of his apprentice, but he was the one who sort of made sure nobody could get out of the traps. Right. Yeah. So basically, you're in this. Explain the trap. Yeah, we should probably explain the trap.
Okay. So the trap is I am on a steel bed, and I guess I would say I'm in the Christ pose, for lack of a better term. My legs are locked in, my arms are locked in, my neck is locked in, and there is a pendulum that is, at this point, at the beginning of the scene, is attached to the ceiling, and I am given the choice for my dirty deed. I either crush my hands that were the hands that did their dirty deed, and live with these crushed hands, or I choose to die by the pendulum, which will be unlatched from the ceiling and slowly cut through my torso, 2 to 3 inches at a time. And Seth chooses to go with the hands, but to his dismay, the trap doesn't really work, so he gets both.
Yes.
And dies a truly horrible and gory death.
Yes.
Also to his dismay.
I mean, after the reverse bear trap in Saw 1, your trap is probably the most iconic. It
was a big trap. That thing took a long time to figure out. It was really dangerous. It was, 4 days of the most painful. It was a very painful experience. It was my back, because I was underneath the table, except for, I guess, chest up. In order for it to work and for me to look like I was flat, I actually had to arch. My back was extremely, as arched as it possibly could underneath the table. And so I was kind of sitting down, and then I would arch back so that I could look flat. So I would sit in this position. It got to the point where it almost felt more comfortable to be in the arch position than it did to stand up straight, because it was so painful. And then you're in continuity for all the blood when they put it on you. So you're kind of walking, or when you get out of the trap, which took 45 minutes to an hour, you would be covered in this, in the blood, and be walking around half naked, because they couldn't change it, because you had to be in continuity. So it was a rather tough experience, but it was also fun. It was pretty fun to do all that stuff, and the gore is kind of neat, and to get to be part of the whole process of, I wasn't building the trap, but I was there because they were fitting it for me specifically, and then to work with Francois, the specialist guy, and his crew, building the body and how that all works. Like, that's, I love that kind of stuff, and it definitely was. They wanted to start the film out with a bang. I was trepidatious about actually doing it at the time, because it was, doing, not that I was trying to do other things, and when they called me and they really wanted me to do the part, and the whole pitch was like, it's going to be this giant trap, and it's going to be something never done before and saw, and it's this big thing, and so they convinced me sort of with the allure of crazy trap.
So they came to you then?
They came, yeah. I mean, originally it's something that my agent submitted me for, which I initially, as I said, cautious about doing, and then they came to me, yeah.
Well, we talked to David Hackle last Friday.
Yes.
You probably know who he is.
Oh, yes.
And he said to us that when these actors are being put into trap situations, there's an element of fear.
Sure.
What fear were you thinking when, sort of like, for example, because you probably heard the Jigsaw tape, didn't you? I'm guessing.
Yeah, it was the fear was more like, if something actually happened, I couldn't get out of the trap.
No.
Like I was, I wasn't like I could just roll out of it or something. Like I was stuck in there. And there was no fear of the pendulum cutting me because I was never really afraid of that. I mean, for the first initial shot, that is my real body. And then halfway through it, when it starts to cut me, obviously that's not my real body. But I was never afraid of being cut by the blade. It was at that point, am I supposed to reveal these things? It's a rubber blade at first, and then when it gets to the fake torso, it's a steel blade. But I wasn't afraid of that. It was, at one point a light fell off the rig. I think they talk about that in the extras. A light fell off the rig, and and basically fell beside my head. And I couldn't even, I moved, but 6 inches the other way, it would have smashed me right in the face. So it was pretty, that was scary. But I was more just, again, the experience of being in the trap was literally so painful that I wasn't afraid. I was more just trying to grin and bear it and then do a good job. The part of what you do for a living is to deal with the elements. You're always dealing with adversity when you're on set, and you still got to do your job. So you can't sit there and whine about it. You have to do your job. And I kind of knew that going in. There was enough time to prepare that, and that was my job. So I can't say. I think there was an element of fear for everyone. You could definitely feel the vibe on the set.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot going on. It's the first trap they did of the shoot, and there's a lot of pressure for it to be excellent. There's all kinds of things going, all kinds of feelings, I think, mishmashed into that situation.
When the first time the pendulum swang from side to side, were you not thinking, what am I actually doing here?
Oh, yeah. No, you're right. Definitely it's like, okie dokie. I hope these guys know. And there's a point where, I can't remember exactly what happened, but everyone's very worried about the actor getting hurt. And they know, actually looking back, I'm sure they know it's more dangerous than I actually know, because they're not going to let me in on that, because they don't want me to be freaking out. But there was a couple of blow-ups, between different crew members when with the pendulum wasn't timed right and something almost happened. And not to me, but it's, it's so far away from anything dangerous actually happening, but when it even comes close, there's always a freak out, which is good. They're there. They don't want anyone to actually die, despite what they might say. But again, I felt quite safe. So, definitely when the pendulums first started swinging, you're like, okay, what's gonna happen here? But once you do, I was there for 4 days. So once you kind of, at a certain point, it becomes so sort of almost laissez-faire, and you're in all this blood, your guts are spilling out, and you're just wondering what's for lunch.
Because if I remember correctly, in the marketing phase of Saw 5, your clip was the first clip that came out.
Oh yeah, they used everything. That was on the poster. Yeah. It was in the cover of Fangoria. It was it was everywhere.
I'm obviously guessing that your family and friends noticed it. What was their reaction to it?
My brothers knew about it.
Okay.
They thought it was funny. Most of my friends got a kick out of it, thought it was hilarious. A lot of people had no idea that I was in it. So when they see the preview, because there was a specific preview that I think was just me, and that there was, like I said, it's such a popular. I was saying to you earlier, it's such a popular film. It kind of blew me away how much attention I got just from random people who I knew years ago. And the whole Facebook phenomenon of people finding me and stuff. It's every day I get a friend request from somewhere in the world. People who saw me and saw. And want to be my friend and want to talk about the trap.
If David Hackle, because David Hackle's doing 7 now.
Yeah.
If he said to you, is it Jorik? I'm going to get this right.
Oh, Joris Jarsky. Think Chuck Norris.
Chuck Norris, Joris. Joris, okay,
Joris Jarsky. Yeah.
Oh, okay, Joris.
I think Jarsky and Hutch. It's just like two different. That's all you need.
Joris Jarsky.
Joris Jarsky.
Yeah, got it right. If he said, Joris, I want you to be in Saw 7, I want you to reprise your role as Seth, would you say, yeah, sure?
Oh yeah, for sure. No, in a New York minute. Yeah, that'd be amazing. It'd be really fun to actually. if I was allowed to get out of the trap and do some walking and talking, yeah, for sure.
Because there isn't actually any sort of backstory to you. It's just you're in there. We know you've murdered his sister. That's it. We don't know why or how you did it.
No. Yeah, we don't know anything. And I mean, I always wondered if they were, because they do bring people back.
Yeah.
That hasn't come up yet. I'm sure there was a little bit of talk, I think, in and around the time of the shooting of 5, but of what they might do next, But it's all top secret. They literally don't tell. I mean, I didn't even. You're not allowed to read. They don't give you the script.
No.
So, I mean, they let me in a little bit of what's going on, but it's so top secret.
So you're going to see Saw 6?
Oh yeah. Yeah, we got to see how it all. What's transpired. What's next? Because now I'm in. At first, I was just like, "What is this stuff?" Because I'm actually quite easily scared. So that's why. It's not that I don't like these movies; they just freak me out. So, but when you're in them, I think having done it now, it doesn't sort of like, "Oh yeah, I know how that's done."
I mean, you weren't really a horror fan yourself, were you, to start off with? But you've been in so many horror movies and TV series as well.
No, I'm easily frightened. Like a vivid imagination. I'll see something and then I'll like obsess over it for weeks about the witch living in the basement or something, But it depends. But it definitely it's not. Excuse me. I just had a loud bench. It's not my first choice only because it freaks me out. But I definitely one of the things having done these films, like we just screened the George Romero film at the Toronto Film Festival.
Yes.
Having done these movies and sort of now been indoctrinated into the horror community, I kind of think it's much more awesome than I ever imagined. Just the whole, the super supportive fan base and kind of the obsession with it, but in a really kind of neat way. And it's sort of I kind of now look at it as sort of the punk rock of the film world, like. And especially after working with George Romero, and it's all about kind of one-upping each other, and I think it's great, and it's really seems really healthy and vibrant right now.
I suppose the horror genre is like, in terms of actors, is one big family, isn't it? Especially with the Saw franchise.
For sure. I mean, there's so many. Obviously, it depends who you are and what you did in the movie, but I mean, it definitely, like, in Toronto, they shoot a lot of them. They shoot all of them now in Toronto. And there's the main squad that's in all the films, but and a lot of them are actually Toronto actors. But it's sort of a rite of passage that you get to do a trap in this town. But in the community outside of that, though, too, like you said, like internationally, actors that have worked in this genre and stuff, done Saw films, or again, even the Romero stuff, and there's sort of like the nudge, nudge, wink, wink when you see each other. I feel quite happy that I kind of now I'm really into it. Like I want to do more horror stuff. I
mean, do you know what I was gutted about in Saw 5? I was gutted that what they did was in the theatrical version, they basically made you die, just like normal. But the iconic thing in the sort of like the DVD cut of it is you turn your head, look at this door, and then you say, "I did what I was supposed to do." Then it drops.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a better.
Yeah, they had they had problems with the ratings board, I think, with stuff like that for whatever reason. Not that has anything to do with the ratings board, but I think it had to do with all the that. That doesn't make any sense to me why they would cut that. That's true. I only ever saw the screener, so I never saw the movie. I saw the better version. I didn't actually know. I knew that they had cut a lot of the gore out, like the guts coming out and all that stuff.
Yeah, that was great. That was.
Yeah, it was amazing. Yeah. That was and also very funny when you're. Those are the kind of things that make you laugh when you're on set for some reason.
when you watch it, do you think, what was I thinking when I took this on? Do you think?
Kind of.
Yeah.
literally, like, I was in pain for so many days after. Like, I've never been so exhausted. And so, like, never thought I could walk it. You know, it was like, I don't know if I'll be able to be the same again. But mostly, it's funny to me when I watch it. Because there's just your brain cannot wrap around at all that it's scary or real. Because I know it's completely, you know, there's nothing about it that, to me, seems, maybe years from now I'll watch it and you know, like everything you do, the more distance you have, the more you can actually watch it from a neutral point kind of thing. But it just cracks me up. And most of my friends who see it, it cracks them up too. But it's not something I'd show my mother, that's for sure.
Do you know, the first time I watched it, I was like, oh, this is fantastic.
Yeah, it worked out pretty good.
Yeah. Oh, dear.
It worked out pretty good. It is pretty funny, the sort of phenomenon that surrounds that trap, but I'm not complaining.
Well, yeah. Well, Joris, it's been a pleasure to talk to you.
It's been a pleasure. Have a wonderful day.
Thanks very much.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.